This is my home. We have fishing, hunting, and a charming view of the sunsets. The only problems are the pests. You see, most places have mice or mosquitoes. We have dragons.
From Boston University Center for Digital Imaging Arts, this is the Post Movie Podcast. I'm Steve Head.
And I'm John Black.
And on this week's show, we're going to discuss the new DreamWorks animated film, How to Train Your Dragon, and the new John Cusack comedy, Hot Tub Time Machine. We'll also take a look at the forthcoming DVD releases. We're going to kick things off with Hot Tub Time Machine.
A typical road trip weekend consists of partying, hooking up, and going wild. But in 2010, four friends will discover a new level of awesome.
Go. All right. Look, what are we gonna do? You guys are terrible at quarters? Let's break into a school or steal a cop car or something, huh? Do you have Ritalin? What?
Guys, come look at this.
You don't think it's a little weird, a bunch of guys just piling up in a big bathtub together?
It's called male bonding, okay? Haven't you even seen Wild Hogs? Watch out, here I come.
What the hell happened last night?
Is there some kind of retro thing going on this weekend?
There's something going on in here. Dude is rocking a cassette player. Leg warmers. I'm sure there's a good explanation for all this. Jerry girl! Excuse me, miss. What color is Michael Jackson?
Black?
Don't you think we should be actually sitting in a hot tub while we do this? That would be... not that I want to be in a hot tub with you.
Okay, haven't you even seen Wild Hogs?
That would be interesting. And, and I'm thinking that...
Be better than the movie.
Do you think they possibly consider doing the junket like that? Like,
yeah.
Do the junket interviews in the hot tub.
Yeah. I wouldn't have, that's one junket I would have turned down. So anyway, as the title, it's not hard to figure out what this movie means from the title. Four guys, four losers, go back to an old ski resort where they spent the best years of their, or the best night of their lives. And
1986.
1986, yeah. You know, when they get there, the room's a shambles, the town's depressed, it's all boarded up, there's no parties going on. I mean, the hotel now is so down on its heels, it has a one-armed porter to carry their bags. The
Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover, yeah. In fact, when they first get to the hot tub, there's a dead raccoon in it. That's how bad things are. But magically, a brand new hot tub arrives. They get in, party, spill a drink into the control box, and it magically transfers them back to 1986.
You know what I'm thinking? 1986. What movies came out in 1986?
Well,
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
John Cusack that year released Better Off Dead. He had just done The Sure Thing. Better Off Dead came out, and One Crazy Summer.
One Crazy Summer.
Yeah.
I actually saw them filming that movie.
Down on Cape?
Yeah, down on the Cape.
Yeah.
They'd closed off the roads in a couple places near Hyannisport, and
very young.
Actually saw them filming it.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's what Cusack was doing.
I just watched it the other night, actually, on demand. Better Off Dead.
You didn't pay for it?
No.
Okay.
No, but what was the movie where, what was the one with the kid with the $2? I want my $2. You know, the kid on the bike?
I don't know.
They referenced it, I think, in Hot Tub Time
That's
Machine.
a good question for readers. If anyone can help Steve out with this problem.
God, I'm just, I think it's Better Off Dead.
Really?
I think it is Better Off Dead.
I haven't seen that.
Where they're on the ski slope.
Maybe. I haven't seen it recently. I don't think I've seen it since it came out. But, that's what John Cusack was doing in 1986, or 85, 86, was starring in movies like that. Now here he is.
It's amazing. 25 years later.
Yeah, 25 years later, he's making a movie that tries to recapture that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it comes close. I'd much rather watch Better Off Dead, One Crazy Summer, almost any movie from that year, than sit through Hot Tub Time Machine again.
It's disappointing.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder, well, what they were thinking. And my guess is, not having listened to any of the interviews or done junket stuff, but my guess is they probably got a green light after the success of The Hangover.
Well, exactly. I think The Hangover, and let's face it, it is a great title.
Yeah.
You know, and there's that clip that you see on TV where one of the guys, who's the guy who says it out loud for the first time?
Craig Robinson.
What is it?
Craig Robinson.
Craig Robinson.
From The Office.
Yeah, when he looks, you know, when he finally, everyone knows what's happening, but he says, "This must be a hot tub time machine," and he looks and kind of gives the audience a wink in the camera, and it's like one of the only funny moments in the movie, because when I saw that in the trailer, I was like, please pull this off, make it funny. But there's more to comedy than just pointing out, look, leg warmers, ooh, look, jerry curls. You know, they just point at things, a cassette player, and the audience surrounding me, I can, when they point out a cassette player, portable cassette player, I can see it and go, I used to have that.
Well, I think it's
but
just
young kids aren't going to know what that is.
There's a number of things that happen in this movie that I found repulsive. It's the broad humor thing that eventually, it can work a couple times, but it eventually, turns me off. I saw it with my buddy. I remember turning him to a movie and saying, "What a piece of shit."
Would that be the?
I was tempted to just.
I
mean, I wasn't gonna leave, but it was just.
Would that be getting the car keys out of the dog's rectum? Would it be the hard to watch and almost hard to forget catheter scene?
The catheter scene.
And for the men out there listening to this, it's as ugly as you think it is. A man yanking out his own catheter for comedy.
I think, in particular, Rob Corddry's character. You know, I find him a funny guy, but
Wasn't
he was
the
just
most
so
obnoxious?
unrealistically over the top. It was just. Why is he even friends with these guys?
Well, yeah, and they try to make us
just
believe it because,
whatever.
you know, you pick any four friends and one of them's the asshole of the group, and so Rob Corddry is the asshole of this group. But he's an asshole turned up to 11. He's so obnoxious, and I kept wondering, did someone actually write this dialogue for him, or did they think, well, he's just so funny, let him say whatever he wants, even if it, you know, because it just adds to the humor of this man.
Well, I would guess that there's a fair amount of the movie that relied on the improvisation of the characters. I mean, I know that Craig Robinson is an improvisational guy, and I'm sure Corddry did too.
Yeah,
you know, the way they were just winging it, on screen, just kind of felt unscripted.
But it's not effective.
No, it's a clunky movie.
Yeah.
And I was disappointed to find out that it was photographed by Clint Eastwood's cinematographer, Jack Green.
Really?
Yeah. I had assisted a couple of days on a movie, Rookie of the Year, where I got to work, not directly with him, but I was like, really enthralled to be working with Clint Eastwood's cinematographer. But I guess the guy's got to work.
Right.
He goes from Unforgiven to Hot Tub Time Machine.
I fully understand the need to work. I just watched. We talked last week about The African Queen coming out on DVD, and I bought it. I watched it. It's still a lot of fun, but they have this documentary on it, and there's no way I can think of the guy's name, but the cinematographer
of the
African Queen is being interviewed, and he says, I get a lot of credit. People always say, "Ooh, you shot The African Queen." He goes, "I filmed it. I didn't do anything special. I just pointed the camera and kept it in focus." Because it turned out to be a great movie, he gets all this credit for a wonderful job as cinematographer. But as a cinematographer, he goes, "It was a job. I filmed it." And so I think maybe this guy, I'm sure he made a paycheck.
I totally see your point. There is an impression that one places upon a movie when it does, when the cinematographer is there just to light the scene and frame the shot.
I didn't think anything, there's a special effect at the end that's obviously computer generated when they go back in time with the hot tub, and I kept, when I'm watching it, it's supposed to be the big climatic moment, where they get back in the hot tub and they're going back in time and there's this huge water spout, and I was like, if they did the same kind of low budget thing they did in the beginning and didn't spend I'm sure it cost a fortune to make that scene, they could have put that money back into the script, and come up with some better jokes or a more believable, it's not even believable, a better premise, because every time travel story is the thing where if you go back in time and you do anything, you move a coaster on a table, the butterfly effect, which is a terrible movie despite what they say in this film, if you move a coaster or trip when you're not supposed to, or, let alone go to bed with someone you're not supposed to, it'll change the future. You
Right.
know?
So in this particular circumstance of time traveling, one of the guys that goes back is a teenager who was born in 1987.
Hey! Let's get this party started. Who is carrying me home tonight? Hey, bro. Nicholas.
Hey, girl.
Who's the geek?
He's your son.
What's not appropriate?
I'm the sunshine.
Sunshine.
Because I'm here to brighten your day.
That's Jacob. He's totally cool.
He doesn't look cool.
He's not that cool.
And his existence is threatened by some of the activity that goes on this particular, it takes place over, 24 hours? In 1986,
I
it's
think
24 hour
so.
time span.
I think so, yeah. Because, the magical mystery guy, Chevy Chase, goes around saying, by dawn, everything must be done by dawn.
Yeah, I think also it's important to say that this is just the typical thing where four guys' lives are falling apart.
Right.
And they just go back to this one place where they thought that, well, maybe we can recapture whatever happened.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, the place was running down. But then through a miraculous set of circumstances involving some lightning and some weird incarnation of a Red Bull type energy drink.
Yeah, from Russia.
Causes a flux capacitor-ish situation in the hot tub, and they swirl back to 1986.
Yeah.
And they were basically using this to fix their sucky lives. John Cusack having been dumped by his girlfriend.
Well, at first they
the other
they
guy
don't want
basically
to.
trying to commit suicide.
Yeah, they don't want to. They make a point of saying, we're not going to do anything different. You broke up with the girl that night, you've got to do it again. You got beat up that night, you got to get beat up again. And they all reach a point where they're like, no. It sucked being beat up that night. It sucked breaking up with the girl. Mm-hmm. And so little by little they change, and then Corddry takes it to the nth degree by changing everything. Mm-hmm. I just think, and the thing, and a lot of people, I was, 1986, I was...
Aliens,
27?
Star Trek 4. 27? Wow.
So I was probably old. Well, I was older than the people in this movie because they were supposed to be like just out of high school or something. But looking back on those times, it wasn't that great a time, And I think the only line in the whole movie that rang true to me is when, Rob Corddry's talking about how awesome the '80s were, and John Cusack's character says the '80s had Reagan and AIDS. That's what he thinks. That's his memory of the '80s. Those are the two big things: Reagan and AIDS. And I was like, yeah, that's what I remember. And okay, the safety dance. But otherwise, and
did they have the safety dance in the movie? I think
no. That's the other. Or
it was
they have.
I'll spin you like a record.
Yeah, yeah. But they also have Poison.
Poison. Yeah, that is the band that's going to be playing just this one night at this
crappy little ski lodge.
Yeah.
And to think that who's the lead singer, Bret Michaels, is now whoring himself out on The Celebrity Apprentice. I'd like to put him in a time machine and say, hey, 1986, you were playing this, you were stars in '86, and now you're like Bus of Love and this other crap on reality TV instead of I can't remember a Poison song, although I couldn't get that stupid ballad out of my head for hours after the movie.
Yeah.
Take Me Home, whatever, some power ballad that plays throughout the movie. It will stick in your mind long after everything but the catheter joke leaves you.
Yeah, well, what stuck in my mind was the potential decapitation of Crispin Glover's appendage.
Yes,
being his arm.
Thank you for clarifying that. And he really, for the listeners out there, he did point to his arm when he said that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I didn't think was so funny. It just sort of adds up to those,
and
whatever,
and
man.
Crispin Glover is just like that nut job. He's the modern day Dennis Hopper. We need a wacky guy in this movie, so let's get Crispin Glover, and he'll do some crazy stuff. And
yeah,
it's like, it's pathetic.
It's actually kind of disappointing that John Cusack did this, but he also produced the movie.
Yeah.
And his buddy Steve Pink, who he did high fidelity with. He wrote it, wrote and directed it.
Right.
So
right.
it's, I guess, a homegrown Cusack project that is designed to make some money off of the popularity of The Hangover, or the audience, whatever, you know, the you know, that money made hand over fist money, and you know, they're hoping they can tap into this.
And I also think, I imagine, you know, I have no insight into Hollywood wheeling and dealing, but you know, Cusack was also in 2012, which is about as far away as you can imagine from the typical John Cusack movie. And I wonder if it was like, all right, I'll star in this blockbuster piece of shit, but you got to greenlight this movie my friend and I are doing.
I wonder, but you know, I did like the idea that he was getting back to comedy. I did like that.
Okay.
You know, the movie is a piece of shit, but it does have some funny moments, you know, here and there. And it's not, you know, I like the subtle stuff, the in-jokes. It's the broad humor that just kills it. And actually, I think the editing kills it, too. It's just...
I didn't even notice it. I was just too appalled by...
You know, you could tell that they were never
else.
at a ski chalet. It was all filmed in...
a studio.
It's just one studio set after another with a couple of exteriors of the chalet and wherever, you know, probably northern. I don't know, whatever. But
it could have been filmed in someone's backyard.
Yeah,
you know, we'll throw some.
Well, the hot tub
snowflakes.
time it was in the backyard, so
yeah,
it was. Hell, you know, if it makes money, then screw the critics, man. You know, that's,
no, never.
You know,
I'm not lying down for this. The guy, again, I forget his name.
Craig Robinson?
Right. He was actually the only thing I enjoyed in the movie. He's a guy who's been in a ton of movies, but he's like the bouncer at the bar, or he's got 2 minutes in one movie, 3 minutes in another. Here he gets at least some time to do something. He's the only character I was even interested in.
You've seen Dragon Wars?
Cared about.
He stars in that one.
Dragon Wars?
Yeah. It's a Chinese-produced film that they filmed in L.A. About, you know, the
Giant dragons
ultimate conquest of dragons happening over the skies of L.A.
Yeah, I think I saw it on
special
video.
effects are a bit insane, and it gets a little headachy, but
he was a star?
Yeah, he's the star
of
that one.
Well, it's nice to see him get something that actually made it to theaters.
Yeah, I dig him from The Office. I really, you know, I dig Craig Robinson. He's funny.
Seen The Office.
I saw him. He was in Pineapple Express. He played one of the thugs.
He was also in Miss March. Yeah, which is something that should have gone direct to video. It was by two of the guys from Whitest Kids We Know, Whitest Kids You Know, or something.
Oh, I think most people seeing Hot Tub Time Machine will remember him from the Kevin Smith flick, Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
Yes,
as the husband,
the producer.
Guy. Yeah,
but you know, he's interesting. He has some funny moments. People should know that the way they make this work, and I'm making air quotes there, is that we see the characters as they look. They're still, even when they go back to 1986, they're still the same middle-aged slobs we meet, losers, you know, that we meet in the beginning. Yeah. But when they look in the mirror, you see how they looked back in 1986, and his character has the Kid and Play high-top afro.
Right,
you know,
and he's much more
Yeah, he's thin. He's thin. He's got this huge, you know, Kid and Play haircut. But his character, the thing that, you know, they all have these moments in their, in 1986 that supposedly because of what they do change their lives. And he actually performs at the chalet, and he does a much better job than Poison. But he sings that god-awful song, Jesse's Girl.
Yeah, right.
Is that it?
Yeah.
The Rick Springfield hit? Yeah. But then he also, you know, he has the band play something new that they've been rehearsing, and he plays a Black Eyed Peas song, you know, and he starts rapping.
So you've got your Back to the Future moment.
Yeah. But at least it was entertaining. He looked like he was having fun doing it.
I did like Clark Duke, the guy who played the teenager who goes back with him, which is sort of like he's sort of a tool because that's probably the audience they're going for with this movie, and he's the guy that relates to the 30-something, 40-something guys who go back with him. He kind of plays a straight man, and he has some pretty good laughs. You know, as far as his.
Do you know if he's
basically
else?
just he's in Kick-Ass. That comes out in
You're
a couple
forbidden
of weeks.
from talking about that movie until I've seen it. You know that.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, is he any good in it?
Yeah. It's sort of the same character. Kick-Ass is terrific. He is good. He is good.
You can't resist. He just wants to talk about it.
I
Believe me, after we can
have a lot to say about that movie.
Yeah,
I really do.
I think we've run out of things to say about Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah. Other than it borders and goes into the Back to the Future thing where Clark Duke's character, the kid, starts to disappear. Because
like Marty McFly's photo,
here.
the photo of his family. That's where it was
becoming erased from the universe.
Yeah. And despite here we are ragging on this thing, but if it was on TV, like on cable,
it would be like a guilty pleasure. It is garbage.
Kinda, it's garbage. Yeah.
But
so are all these.
Like,
you can go to and I did my research. Yes, Ski School and Ski School 2, Up the Creek. Every Animal House ripoff. When the Animal House made a lot of money, suddenly there were the spawn of comedies where it's like, just put 4 guys in the woods and they'll be funny. 4 guys on a ski slope, they'll be funny. 4 guys, at a car wash, they'll be funny. And none of those movies are good. In fact, any movie after Animal House that has National Lampoon in the title.
This could have been a National Lampoon's Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah, exactly. And I've watched all those movies, and I do it for personal reasons, I guess. But I'll admit it to you, because this will never be heard by anyone, right? This will never go out. But I've seen all those movies, and it's just like, it's so stupid.
It was just so standard and predictable. And John Cusack, who's basically the lead and the the straight man for all the other stuff that goes on, he meets this journalist who's going to report on the Poison concert that's happening. Lindsay Kaplan. I like her.
Yeah,
she was in Cloverfield.
Did she seem totally out of place in this movie? She shows up and it's like, wow, a good character, someone I want to listen to.
She seemed like the one reasonable, when 2 reasonable characters meet, you've got the center of, everything else is nuts and we're just, trying to deal with all the stuff that goes on. So they connect, John Cusack and Lindsay Kaplan, who, by the way, I think there's a 20-year age difference.
Really?
She comes off, I think, as a lot older, but I checked their ages online.
She's 20-something?
Yeah, she's 20-something. He's 43, 44. She's 20-something.
Well, the thing is, all those movies from the 80s...
I mean, they seemed like a couple that worked,
Well, that's one of the things, all those movies from the 80s, all those bad comedies, usually the successful ones have a smart, sexy, sassy girl.
Yeah, she's the outsider, the writer, the person who's with the philosophy that John Cusack connects with, and
she hates Poison. That won my heart right away. She talks about how bad Poison is right at the show. I was like, yeah.
And she's writing for Rolling Stone.
Spin magazine.
Okay.
No,
all right, my mistake.
No, that's all right.
It has to be a major publication.
Which Spin just went out of business a few years ago.
No.
Really?
No, they're still on the shelf. I saw
Maybe my subscription ran out, and I just thought they went out of business because I no longer got it.
Nope, they're there. She got the writing gig from Spin Magazine, writing on Poison.
Traveling on the bus.
I was thinking, she did this TV show with Elijah Dushku. The one where she kind of brought things with. Elijah Dushku did a TV show with Zach Galifianakis, who played this coroner. And they would go back in time and try and stop somebody's death from happening.
You dreamed
I can't remember the name of the thing. It was a TV show. It went for 2 seasons.
You dreamed it. It never happened.
Can't think of it. Anyway.
But was it any good?
No, it wasn't. That's why I like it.
Yeah.
It was with the guy from 90210. Whose
Luke
name
Perry?
I also... no, the other guy.
There was another guy?
Yeah, I am totally blanking on names here.
It's okay.
Like notes. Oh God, I can't think of it.
People can always look it up. You've given them that nugget of knowledge.
Yeah, but it was an early TV show for Zach Galifianakis and the non-Luke Perry 90210 guy. Now I'm like, I should be a fan of 90210. And his name will come to me as soon as we stop recording.
Good, good. That's where it belongs. So anyway, obviously I wouldn't even though I said I would watch it if it was free on cable, I wouldn't recommend paying to see Hot Tub Time Machine.
No, I can't recommend anyone.
And I don't think it's going to...
Unless you happen to see it free on TV in a year or two.
And I don't think it's going to do huge at the box office, because the movie we're going to talk about later, I think, is going to be number one this weekend.
It is actually a good film.
But first, before we let that out of the bag, we wanted to talk about DVD releases.
Yes, DVDs. Hey, but, of course, if you agree or disagree with anything else we have to say here, send us an email at postmoviepodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to check us out online at postmovie.wordpress.com. But definitely send us an email. Let us know if you agree or disagree with us, or whatever the hell you want to talk about.
No, I would challenge people to defend Hot Tub Time Machine. Because even though I saw it last night, and everyone outside of the critics circle was laughing. Not all the time, but they had some pretty hefty laughs. They laughed.
It was a laugh-at movie.
Yeah, laugh at. Yeah, it wasn't a laugh with. It was a laugh at movie, at least for me. But so there are people who liked it, who thought it was funny. So if you're one of them and want to write something beyond "you guys suck," send an email. In fact, if you just want to say "you guys suck," send an email. We just want to see some email coming in.
DVD time.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to Sherlock Holmes. I'm going to get that one.
Does that come out this?
It does.
Wow.
It does.
It seems like it was wasn't it just in theaters in December?
It was.
3 months later.
It was. You know what kind of sucks, though? Is it seems that the way the way the home video thing is going right now, they're putting all the extra features, the really good extra features, on the friggin' Blu-ray. If you don't have the Blu-ray, you can't get all the the kick-ass features. So with the Sherlock Holmes DVD, you get one featurette on the re-envisioning of Sherlock Holmes.
Right.
On the Blu-ray, which they're doing is like a double or triple special edition,
which obviously
pack
costs
disc.
a lot more.
You get all the stuff, the myriad of things, plus like the DVD itself, and I think a digital MP something copy.
I think Robert Downey Jr. comes to your house and watches it with you if you buy the full package. Well, they might as well, for the amount of money they're going to keep charging you. That's what was it? I bought a Justice League DVD, and
I was going to watch that the other day.
It was like the single disc, no frills, $10.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the 2-disc set. It's got some extras, and it has a special Spectre short cartoon, $19. Oh, but if you want the Blu-ray, blah 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 blah, $29. And I was like, I just want to see the frickin' movie. But then I was like, I want to see the Spectre cartoon. So I ended up going for the 1999 one. And it was kind of worth it, but
I totally hear you. I'm all about the special features, and I typically think most people aren't. But I want to see all that stuff. I want to learn all that stuff. That's what makes it geeky good, But you don't get that with this regular.
It makes it what? Say that again.
Geeky good. Special features stuff is there's a ton of special features on the Sherlock Holmes Blu-ray that and only one on the regular disc. So. Whatever.
I refused to get a Blu-ray player, or I tried to, because it's just like when they made me turn in my albums for CDs, It's the same thing, but it sounds better, whatever, but I'm still listening to it on a crappy stereo. Same thing, I don't have a high-def TV, so why am I going to buy a Blu-ray? But
Hollywood's going to keep you double-dipping, as much as I hate to use that term. For how many times have you bought Star Wars?
Buzz.
How many times
Never, actually. But that's the difference. When but I had to buy a new laptop.
You never bought Star Wars?
No, I do not have never owned any of the Star Wars movies.
Good Lord.
I know.
Okay, we've got to.
All right, wait, he's storming out of the building. Here it is. He's throwing down the microphone.
That might be too much.
But when I bought a laptop. I had to go buy a laptop, and to me, and I've said it before on the show, a laptop is nothing more than a typewriter with porn. So I didn't care about the brand. I didn't care PC Mac, although PCs are cheaper. But I bought a laptop simply because it had a Blu-ray player in it.
Oh.
So I had to buy one anyway. I can watch Blu-rays on my laptop, and now it's like all these. One of the DVDs I'm going to talk about later. A lot of the anime, a lot of movies get sent to me now on Blu-ray. And I'm like, now I have to watch it on my crappy laptop, but I get all the geeky goodness.
Do you get a better quality picture on your laptop because of it? Is just, I mean, I feel like you got to have the TV. You know, I used to get sent a lot of DVDs and for review, but I feel like you got to have the whole. You know, I got to get a new TV.
Well, that's just it. Yeah,
just to maximize.
I got to get a better house. I got to get a better job. I got to get better friends. You know, but the thing is, the only thing I realized, and this might be a technical issue, but the only thing I noticed about watching Blu-rays as opposed to anything else is that if you're not perfectly centered to watch the thing, you'll get a distorted picture. If the screen's closed a little more than it should be, or you're trying to watch it laying down or something, the blacks just wipe out. It almost looks like a negative up there because you're not in the right position to watch it.
Wow, that's almost like it's some sort of LCD problem. You know?
No. I don't have attention deficit.
Are these LED?
LED.
Do you know if it's an LED screen? Because I don't notice that quite so much on my LED laptop.
That's Paul, our producer. People.
Yeah, I knew it was a technical issue. I don't know. You almost have to sit upright, like you're getting yelled at the dinner table to watch these things. But it's okay, If, like you said, if I get all the extras, or some companies only send out Blu-ray now for review.
Really?
With Disney, you get those $40 packs. It's like, here's the Blu-ray, here's the regular, and here's the special disc that you can download to your phone. Like, I'm going to download a fucking movie to my phone.
Well, I wouldn't be so dismissive. A lot of people apparently do it.
I know. I see them on the subway.
Avatar on your 2-inch phone screen or less.
The smaller the
3D.
Better. Yeah, in 3D. Just keep
hold that up
back
to your
and forth.
Hold that up to your face.
So that's how I saw
the true experience from IMAX to the your cell phone.
Yeah, I'm watching it on the nail of my pinky finger. But I know we've digressed a little, but that's been bugging me a lot too. It's just the whole Blu-ray thing.
It's going to keep on happening.
But then you see, the thing that kills me is, all right, some movies, all right, you take Avatar, maybe you want it in Blu-ray, maybe it's filled with extras. But suddenly the Blu-ray market starts dumping this shit from 30 years ago. It's like, do I need to see Above the Law?
Well, apparently the transfers that are happening aren't even all the best anyway.
No,
so it's just a matter of getting it out.
Yeah, they can suddenly charge you a movie that would be $4 in the cutout bin is suddenly $19 because it's on Blu-ray. And
John almost had a chair malfunction here, but everything's cool.
Yeah, they didn't hear that. Thanks for letting me know.
If you had, fallen over backwards, that would have made for a moment.
Yeah, and you know what?
It happens to everybody
there and
at one time or another.
Bled on the carpet.
Yeah.
Then we would definitely have to bring a camera in here every time.
Yeah, we'll this be the day he falls. So anyway, that's enough Blu-ray spiel. Although one added note, I did just buy the box set of Mel Brooks movies on Blu-ray.
Really?
And I'm sure there's no reason to own Blazing Saddles on Blu-ray, but it was like $50 for 10 movies at deepdiscount.com. Not a plug. And
I'm wondering whether that is you're that much of a Mel Brooks fan. I don't know if I.
I'm a huge Mel Brooks fan.
I don't know.
What, that it doesn't need to be seen in Blu-ray, or you wouldn't buy it?
I think it goes into my opinion of Mel Brooks is he's funny, and he's all that, he's incredibly talented, and he's done some amazing stuff, but I think he tries too hard.
Oh yeah.
I just didn't think Spaceballs was as funny as people thought it was. I mean, I consider
Star Wars.
Nah.
Yeah.
Spaceballs just wasn't that funny. And
no.
History of the World Part 2.
Not funny.
Most of it just wasn't that funny. High Anxiety. A lot of it wasn't that funny.
Silent movie.
He's got some great bits, but
they're just bits.
I don't think it's not enough for me to buy his.
He made 3 movies
collection
that hold together as a whole. The Producers, Blazing Saddles, and Young Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
I think those work as movies. The rest have funny bits. But Mel Brooks comedy is all about the funny bits. It's not about the story. I'm not watching.
Well, you bought the stuff, and and immediately I think, would I have the desire to even see one of those again? I don't know. Maybe Young Frankenstein, but the other films I'm not whatever. Just no desire to.
The only ones I owned were Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein anyway. So to me, getting 10 Blu-rays for $55 was worth it.
I can't believe I actually saw Young Frankenstein in the theater.
Yeah.
When that came out. And I think I saw Blazing Saddles too. But it was like a re-release, but strange.
Yeah.
Been that long.
What
time.
else? What else is coming out?
An Education.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think they're splitting up the extra features on that. But the DVD, you do get a commentary with Lone Scherfig. Is that how you pronounce her name? The director?
Yeah.
And Peter Sarsgaard and Katie Mulligan commentary. Terrific film. Highly recommend it. Definitely. I'm going to go ahead and say I love that movie.
Okay.
Even though I had some reservations about it. But, you know, what critic doesn't has a reservation about something, I guess. So from that, we move on to Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Squeakle.
You don't really have to talk about that.
We don't have to talk about Alvin, and I just wrote it down because it's a major release, but not interesting. All right. Also coming out on DVD, The Yes Men Fix the World.
Didn't see it.
Funny. I enjoyed it.
Documentary, right?
Yeah, it's a documentary on... they do fix the world, but in this case it's the Yes Men, and they have some solutions for some major companies as to how to solve some of the...
Are the Yes Men those prankster guys?
They
that,
are
like,
the prankster guys.
Show up at big corporate meetings. Ta-da!
They do
we weren't supposed to be here.
a very big and amusing prank on Dow Chemical and what happened in India with a nuclear power plant, I guess some 20 years ago, and making repercussions for that. I mean, reparations. And then they attend conferences posing as specialists. And in one conference, they pose as a representative from Exxon and have an alternative fuel solutions. It's funny.
Okay.
It's funny, especially the
I like the first one they did. So.
The Survivaball is a funny idea.
All right.
It protects you against just about anything. I Saw the Dead. I haven't seen it. Comes out on DVD.
Oh, I have seen this. It played for a week at the Brattle. It's one of the guys from Lord of the Rings.
Dominic Monaghan.
Right. It's England, maybe the 1800s, and they're gravediggers. And they end up fighting monsters. That's a very short explanation of it. Because I saw it a long time ago, and I do have the DVD, but I haven't seen it again. It's actually pretty entertaining. It has Ron Perlman as a priest who's trying to get a confession out of Monahan before he's put to death for his grave robbing. So it's got some really cheesy 1980s rubber monster special effects. It's got a good sense of humor about it. It's not to be taken too seriously. I think it's kind of enjoyable, especially if you like Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, that kind of stuff, where it's a mixture of comedy and horror. It does a pretty good job, so I would recommend seeing that.
The DVD, I guess as opposed to just the Blu-ray, but the regular DVD does have a commentary with Dominic Monaghan and Larry Fessenden. Also commentary. Why can't you talk, Steve? Just talk normally. Sorry.
It has a commentary?
Glenn McQuaid, the director, does an audio commentary, and then there's the visual effects featurette, making of I Saw the Dead.
And it also comes with a souvenir comic book.
Oh.
You know it's a souvenir because it's the size of a DVD box.
I thought you were going to say something like it comes with a little mini shovel.
Yeah, it comes with its own ghoul. No, it comes with a comic book that is, it's not a collector's item. Let's put it that way. It's just something to kind of look at the story of the movie in comic book form. It's that geeky goodness you were looking for.
Yeah.
And you don't have to buy the Blu-ray, so it's worth seeing.
I'm intrigued. I do want to see this movie. So we're good on DVDs, I think.
No, I've got two.
Oh, okay, go for it.
One is the History Channel has put out a set called Clash of the Gods, trying to cash in on the Clash of the Titans, and it's the History Channel's take on the real story of Zeus, the real story of Samson. They use a combination of talking head professors and pretty decent special effects and recreations. It's pretty interesting. I think there are like 15 gods talked about on the DVD box set, and so it goes on a little long. By the time you get through to Medusa, you're like, okay, fine, I'm done. But it's a nice counterpoint to the original Clash of the Titans, and I'm sure it'll be a relief of the new Clash of Titans because it's not that hyperactive action thing. It's actually well thought out, well written, documentary style. And then an anime that comes out it's already out, but it's worth checking. It's called Gunslinger Girl, and the premise is that there's a secret government agency, and it's so funny. It's a Japanese anime, but somehow, for some reason, they set it in Italy. So it's this secret government agency who takes young girls who are about to die, whether from a car wreck or some kind of accident, and they turn them into cyborg assassins. All right, yeah.
Sweet.
It's a good idea, right? They operate on them. They give them all the cyborg equipment they need to become assassins. They train them. They bond them with a handler who, tells them what to do, and they go out on missions and kill people. That alone would be enough for me to get it. But the interesting thing about this, and it's a good example of how rich animes can be, is that the little girl in these cyborgs starts to wake up. And they want to be rewarded for the work they do, but they also want to be loved for the work they do. They don't look at their handlers as someone who just tells them to kill those guys. They start having, these complex relationships with these men in their lives who look at them as only as machines.
It's the Gunslinger Girl complex.
It is. I would watch that. Anyway, it's entertaining. There's lots of action, but it's also a good example of what anime can be. And I'm about to watch Gunslinger Girl Season 2, so I'm sure you'll hear about that.
Nice. I'm intrigued.
I would check it out. Check it out. It's on Blu-ray, though, Steve, so you'd have to upgrade your whole life.
Yeah. I'll do that. Man, the DVDs you were talking about last week,
yes.
The contest stuff, I'm hoping people email us about that.
Yeah, I've still got stacks of DVDs to give away.
Yeah, and it got me thinking, like, I made an announcement on Facebook that, that we've got the DVDs and, people listen to the show. But I'm also thinking, like, so these are free DVDs. And I think you said that, somebody writes an email about which one they really like, we'll send it to them. And it's as simple as that. And I got to thinking, is there anything about, like, we're just doing a giveaway, but people, I think, have preconceptions about giveaway, like, oh yeah, if I do this, they're going to end up like, using our email or something like that, or, so I'm thinking, like, that's it's like some sort of assumption that would, like, keep people from actually getting the free DVD.
No, it really is that simple. You send us an email, we'll send you a DVD, and right now you'll be a winner if you write in right now.
It's true.
You will be a winner.
It's like a trust thing. I'm surprised because I'm like, we say, hey, we will give you the DVDs, whichever. But
the fact that I asked for a photograph should not be implied in any, as a scam of any kind. I just want to see what you look like, really.
So what?
No photos.
just to go over it again. What are the titles? That,
there's you would ask this. There's a Naruto. There is a Honey and Clover box set. There's a Nana box set. These names will mean something to people who know anime, and if they don't mean anything to you, so what? It's a free DVD.
Give it a shot.
Yeah, just give it a shot.
Give it a shot.
And what was the email address again?
postmoviepodcast@gmail.com. And you can also find us on Facebook, of course. And I set up the links on Facebook, so we're getting more fans on Facebook.
Good.
Which is cool. Like, I want to say I'm, like, amazed by that, but I'm also like wow. It's like, we've gotten some emails from people that digged the show.
Maybe what we should do is, if we don't get specific
that's
requests
cool.
for, if we don't get specific emails within a week asking for the DVDs, maybe we'll just contact people on Facebook who've become friends and say, hey, thanks for your friendship, here's a DVD.
Cool. I like hearing from people, either in conversation, because our friends listen to the show and family, or, just from wherever. We got a couple of emails this week from out of state. And, and I like hearing that they're listening to the show on commute, on their way to work or in the car, which is cool.
Right. As long as you pay attention to your driving, we'll go with you on the trip.
I don't want to make you late for work.
Yeah.
But
really,
it's something to do on the team.
Yeah, wouldn't this make your work day better if you started it off with a little bit of us?
Nice. That's very nice, John. Nice. Very nice.
It's a lie, but I know it sounded good. Anyway,
we got to get on to How to Train Your Dragon.
Whoa! Focus!
this, Hiccup? What? You're not even trying. Today is all about attack. Ladders are quick and light on the feet. Your job is to be quicker and lighter.
Oh! I'm really beginning to question your teaching methods.
Look for its blind spot. Every dragon has one. Find it, hide in it, and strike.
Do you ever bathe?
You don't like it? Then just get your own blind spot.
How about I give you one?
Blind spot, yes. Deaf spot, not so much.
And this one actually is something I want to talk about because I like the movie a lot.
I really liked it too. In fact, I had spoken with a couple of critics beforehand, and they, you get that impression from people, you're really going to like this, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually had it changed my perception of the movie beforehand.
Your
actually
expectations?
Gave me, my expectation, like, oh, okay, now this is supposed to be good. It had some really cool stuff.
Yeah, and I think the fact that we seem to be overloaded with animated movies, especially 3D animated movies these days, but this one really does rise above the rest. It's well written, it's funny, there's plenty of action. And I think something that helped me before I went in, one of our fellow critics, Ed, who's been on the show, Ed Simkus, who's been on the show, was telling me about it, how much he liked it. When he said, you know what? The dragons don't talk. They don't sing. They're dragons. And that's, especially because anime movies, everyone, that cuteness factor.
Mm-hmm.
The dragons are still cute and funny and, scary, but they don't. And I just really like the idea that they don't talk.
They didn't cut away to a musical sequence.
Yeah, thank God.
That they didn't talk was actually a good point. And,
but the people who do talk, the actors who do give voice to the Viking characters, and this is a story about Vikings fighting dragons, I thought did a great job.
Jay Baruchel, who plays Hiccup, has a distinctive voice. I mean, he plays an everyman, but his voice is very humble. He has an extremely humble personality in his voice,
and it works.
And I think
because
his demeanor as an actor.
He plays a young Viking who isn't strong, isn't out there killing dragons with all the others. He's kind of like the shame of the Viking village because he's just a scrawny little kid.
Hiccup.
Dad, I have to talk to you, Dad.
I need to speak with you too, son. I think it's time you learn to fight dragons. What? You go first.
No, you go first.
All right. You get your wish. Dragon training. You start in the morning.
Oh, man, I should have gone first. 'Cause I was thinking, we have a surplus of dragon-fighting Vikings, but do we have enough bread-making Vikings or small home repair Vikings?
You'll need this.
I don't want to fight dragons.
He's one of the Hollywood's wimp stars.
What's that?
Like Michael Cera, like
the wimps.
Jonah Hill, like to some extent Seth Rogen. They're like not really backbone type of guys.
Yeah,
but
I also like Gerard Butler, who plays his dad, Stoic. Is that how you Stroik? He's got the worst name, Stoick.
Yeah.
We've been barraged with a lot of
Aggressively.
Gerard Butler movies.
Yeah, bad
Gerard Butler movies. And so the idea
Bounty
of,
Hunter, Law-Abiding Citizen, Gamer, Ugly Truth.
And I sat through them all. Actually, I
did you like Rock and Roll? I kind of dig the style.
Yeah, well, it was
Guy Ritchie.
Madonna, Guy Ritchie. I like the style. And even though I know I'm in the minority, I really liked The Ugly Truth. I thought he was a great jerk.
I think his agent, as far as these romantic comedy things go, I think his agent said, now it's time to cash in on all the women who dig you.
Right.
We're going to make this series of... now, he's got to get away from these romantic comedies.
But at the same time, so it's just his voice in this, as the giant Viking leader.
Chicks dig him, but they didn't dig him because he made romantic comedies. They digged him because he was making the Phantom of the Opera
he
and
had
the
those
300.
spray-on abs in 300. That's why they,
Or maybe even Laura Croft,
Oh, I forgot he was even in that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I interviewed him a couple times, actually, for that. I went to the set of Tomb Raider in London.
Did you talk to what's
No, he was supposed to be there for the interview on the day that they brought the press to the set, but he missed it. and I guess we were supposed to talk with the producer Lloyd Levin anyway, but we couldn't do an on-set interview with Gerard Butler, but like later in the year, or next year when the movie came out. No, actually, it was later in the year. We went in February of 2003 to London to interview Angelina Jolie and Gerard Butler, but the movie came out over the summer. We got to do the interview with him in New York. So
yeah,
even though
he's a good interview, he's a fun guy.
It was another movie that
yeah. And so I just like the idea that it's just he just does a great job with the voice. But my favorite voice in the whole cast was Craig Ferguson as Gobber.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, and here's the thing. Again, talking to other critics, which can be a plus and minus thing. One of the other critics couldn't understand why, if they're Vikings, they have Scotch accents. And I was like, probably because Craig Ferguson can't do any other accent. Even on his talk show, he sounds like a Scotsman.
Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
He even has trouble taking the American accent.
Oh, yeah, they all sound like they live in London or Edinburgh, but Craig Ferguson plays Gobber, he instructs the young people of the village on how to fight dragons. He's a good instructor, but he's not a really good dragon fighter. He's lost an arm and a leg to dragons.
He's also, in some sense, comedic relief.
Yeah, not in a big sense.
Side.
Yeah. I just got a kick out of him and what he said.
Oh, come on, let me out, please. I need to make my mark.
Oh, you made plenty of marks, all in the wrong places.
Please, 2 minutes. I'll kill a dragon. My life will get infinitely better. I might even get a date.
You can't lift a hammer. You can't swing an axe. You can't even throw one of these.
Okay, fine, but this will throw it for me.
Oh! See, now this right here is what I'm talking about.
But mild calibration issue.
No, Hiccup. If you ever want to get out there to fight dragons, you need to stop all this.
What, you just pointed to all of me?
Yes, that's it. Stop being all of you.
Oh,
yes.
You, sir, are playing a dangerous game. Keeping this much raw Vikingness contained. There will be consequences.
I'll take my chances.
So the comedy worked. The action worked.
The setup of the story, and I think what really makes this movie is we're expecting the meeting between the dragon. Now, what do they call the dragon? The Nightwing, the Night.
Yeah, Night Rider.
Like that.
No, that's a different. That's a different.
Is the characterization of the dragon? Just he's very. There were so many ahs and the whole cute dragon thing. The dragon can be mean as hell. But it can also be, it can be a little squirrel puppy dog if it wanted to be, and so it's animated as such. But what develops between Hiccup and the dragon, and Hiccup wanting to be, for the entirety of his life, apparently wanting to be able to kill dragons, never being able to fulfill his dad's. Even his dad thought he was like the super wimp, disappointment to the whole family, disappointment to the whole village, that this meeting is going to happen. So, as the story transpires, he accidentally shoots down this dragon. Mm-hmm. And in doing so, the dragon falls into some sort of grotto on the other side of the mountain, on the other side of the hill where nobody can see it, and it has lost one of its ailerons, its tail.
All right, yeah, thank you.
One of its... It has lost one of its fins.
No. What was that word again?
Aileron.
Did you know that?
No.
Or did you look it up?
I just pulled it out of thin air.
Did you make it up? That doesn't.
Flying.
Okay. Wow.
I'm not a flight instructor.
But you have played one on a podcast.
Yeah. So the one thing that will kill a dragon, a dragon is basically a dead dragon if a dragon can't fly. So it's missing one of its
ailerons.
Yes, wings. And so that's where Hiccup comes in. There's the awkward meeting moment where you meet the dragon for the first time, and you learn. Hiccup learns more about the dragon than anybody in their history of their village ever has, and in doing so, in interacting with the dragon over a couple of weeks or something like that, he learns things about the dragon that actually reveal that this is not our enemy.
Right.
These dragons are as scared as we are. They've got their own issues at home, for lack of a better way to put it.
They have their own issues.
So also it's also the the story of the mouse removing the thorn from the lion's foot sort of thing, wherein Hiccup helps the dragon by building a prosthetic wing.
or aileron.
Yeah, to get the thing flying again. So the story progresses in the sense that Hiccup becomes more, the kids, who I guess are teenagers, are trained to become Vikings, dragon killers, by working in the arena, where there's each a specific doors, and behind each door is an example of these types of dragons that these kids are going to face, and one by one they have to go up against the dragons and slay them. And so, it's like a game test thing until, in order to become a Viking, you actually have to kill a dragon at some point. So that's when Hiccup decides to leave, because he's learned these amazing things from Toothless, which he nicknames the dragon, use them to defeat a number of the dragons in the arena, and therefore gain the surprising respect of everybody in the village. But the one thing he won't do is continue with the erroneous assumption that dragons are bad, dragons have to be defeated and killed and whatnot. So therein is the separation. The movie goes somewhere else from there, which is... I was impressed with it. I was impressed. I don't want to give it away, but there is some imagery in this movie that is really quite amazing. And the characters, I thought, were very fun. America Ferrera as... Astrid, the girl. Now, I'm not all so much... I'm kind of fed up with the establishing the female character as someone that's always supposed to kick your ass, is always supposed to be a jerk. It's always, you know what I mean?
Sounds personal.
And she's... I guess maybe it's because so often, in film history, women were very, submissive and, just do this, do that. And now it's sort of like, because of The Matrix, there's always got to be some incredible kick-ass quality to the women, to the that the protagonist male is interested in. So there's definitely that in Astrid. She's a kick-ass dragon killer.
Today is about survival. If you get blasted, you're dead. Quick, what's the first thing you're going to need?
A doctor? +5 speed?
A shield.
Shield, go! Your most important piece of equipment is your shield. If you must make a choice between a sword or a shield, take the shield.
Get your hands off my shield.
There's like a million shields.
Take that one. It has a flower on it. Girls like flowers.
Oops. Now this one has blood on it.
Right, who learns to be sweet.
Yeah, and she's terrifically voiced by America Ferrera from Ugly Betty. It's fun to see those characters interact, But I also want to add, you said that your favorite voice was, what's his name?
Ferguson.
Craig Ferguson. I digged T.J. Miller. He was one of the dragon killers that was like this heavy, sort of this heavy metal guy who's high on himself. Like, yeah, I could turn into a cloud if I wanted to.
Right.
I could do that if I wanted to. I was just tired. He was sort of the same character he was playing in Extract, which was the
which one was
overly aggressive, kind of maniacal metal guy who had the metal band.
Right. Okay.
He had the metal band God's Dick or God's Cock or something like that. And so now he's playing like the animated metal version of his Extract character, and it's funny. It was funny.
The one of the things I do want to mention though is it was directed by Dean DeBlois and Chris Sanders, Deblois, DeBlois, and Chris Sanders, who are the guys who made Lilo and Stitch, which is one of my favorite movies. It's got the same. I think How to Train Your Dragon has the same kind of humor, the same kind of action, and the same, it's delivering a message that family's important, but it doesn't do it by banging you over the head with, it's not like, there's an Old Yeller moment where the dog dies and the family comes together. It's subtle but effective. It's that message without the medicine-y taste. So I thought it was well handled that way. So it's good for kids and adults. I mean, a lot of adults won't go see, they think animated movies are just for kids.
Well, this will definitely appeal to adults. It's impressive. There's some moments in this movie that are just visually stunning, and some of the humor is mature, and they've got the Judd Apatow guys, Jonah Hill and Christopher Mintz, how do you pronounce his name? Place, who's also in Kick-Ass.
Yeah,
he's in Kick-Ass, man. I couldn't get away with saying it.
Let it go.
They provide some great comic relief.
And I think it's important to know we saw it in 2D.
Yes, we did. We did not get to see it in 3D.
So, and it is in 3D too. So this is how good it is in 2D, and I will pay to see it in 3D. And I want to see it on the biggest, best screen I can with 3D, and I imagine it's even more beautiful and more fun and You know.
Yeah, it's fun to see the way they brought this whole village, this whole Viking thing to life. Terrific animation. It's like Shrek. Next step. I mean, I wouldn't say it's as good as Pixar. There's still that sort of like, will DreamWorks ever get to Pixar level? And you can see little things in the animation that DreamWorks is getting better at this.
Yeah.
Better in their animation of humans. Better in their, the clothing, the cloth, the fur.
Hair.
It's getting better.
All the
It really
Vikings
is.
have these huge beards, and I mean, Pixar when they did Monsters Inc. and it was Sullivan, the big scary monster that was voiced by John Goodman. The hair on that animal or that character moved beautifully. I mean, Pixar spent a lot of time and a lot of money getting that hair to move just right. The beards in these guys, there's nowhere near the same detail, but it works.
DreamWorks is getting there, and Jeffrey Katzenberg is totally committed to this animation, wing of DreamWorks and doing it in 3D. And, he came to Boston, last year for Monsters and Aliens, and he was all about how this was the future of 3D, and this is where we're going, and DreamWorks is going to.
But he was also saying that we were going to go get prescription 3D glasses that we would bring just to the movies. I don't think so. But a side story on Jeffrey Katzenberg. I just watched Toy Story 1 and 2, just came out on Blu-ray. And in the extras, they had this extra called Black Friday. And it's
Is it new?
I don't know. It was on the set that just came out.
Because I've got the toy box, the original, the like all the extra stuff. So, I'm thinking on the Toy Story 2 disc, there is a.
This was actually on this Toy Story 1 extras, the Blu-ray that just came out. So
maybe it must be new.
But they have this thing called Black Friday, where when they were making the movie, when they were making the first Toy Story, they would have like weekly, daily meetings with Disney, and always getting constant feedback from Katzenberg, who was at Disney at the time. And so Katzenberg is looking at the rough sketches for Toy Story, and he's saying, this Woody character needs to be more hip, more edgy, give him more edge. And so he beat the guys at Pixar down to the point where they made Woody the cowboy from Toy Story a complete asshole. And there's a scene, this Black Friday scene is on the extras, where Woody, if you remember in Toy Story, they had Woody accidentally knocks Buzz out of the window that starts their adventure outside of Andy's bedroom. In the Black Friday footage, Woody throws him out. He doesn't accidentally knock him out. He throws him out. And when the other animals, the other toys are like, hey, what'd you do that for? He's like, shut up. And he's such a prick.
Well, if it isn't already, if it wasn't on the earlier DVD and it's on this one, and now the Katzenberg is completely split with Disney, they can get away with doing
and the thing is
stuff. And Disney, he takes shots at Disney in his films too.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's just funny to see Lasseter, and they're all talking like, we almost ruined it because of Katzenberg. And then they finally got to a point after they had a meeting with Disney. They showed him this footage, and they quote Katzenberg as standing outside talking to his lackey, saying, well, why does it suddenly suck? And the lackey's like, well, that's what you told them to do. And so the guys at Pixar had this meeting, and they call it Black Friday because it took place on a Friday. They had a meeting amongst themselves. And this is Lasseter, this is the guy who directed Up, this is all the creative team at Pixar, and they were just like,
interesting.
What are we going to do? And they said, we're going to make the movie the way we want to. And Disney will have to deal with it. And they made Toy Story. So Katzenberg, and he might have done some great things, but it's just another side to his influence on animation. It's well worth checking
DreamWorks will probably, as long as Katzenberg is there, he's always going to have a hand in the storytelling that goes on.
He does some good stuff, I guess. Remember that movie Spirit? Is it Spirit?
The Matt Damon flick, yeah.
Yeah, Matt Damon is the voice of a horse. I did the junket for that, and Damon didn't do it. None of the voice talent was there, but all the artists were there. And they actually brought in the horse trainer who walked the horse in front of the animator so they could see how a horse moves, that kind of thing. And I said, so why did you make a story about a horse anyway? What makes you make a movie about an animated horse? Because it wasn't that good a movie. And they said, well, Jeffrey wanted it done. And I was like, that's all it takes? And the animator goes, yeah.
It was a good 4-minute preview.
Well, then Katzenberg came in, And I said, my first question is like, really, is that all it takes to get a movie done? You want a movie about a talking horse and it happens? He goes, yeah. I was like, oh.
I want to tell you what I also really loved about How to Train Your Dragon was the score by John Powell. They went with sort of it was sort of an American Western type score, and people may disagree with me on this, but that's what I was like recalling like Silverado, except in this case you're riding a dragon. And there's a number of scenes in this movie, one in particular that really works for all the flying scenes, works musically. Wonderful. I mean, you will really be taken away by the music. It's great. I would like to pick it up.
I'm always glad when you say something like that, because I know subliminally the music is working on me, but I never really paid attention.
Well, that's
unless it's one of those
historically. I mean, that's
songs.
what it's supposed to be there to do. I mean, is just to, sometimes it's like a special effect. If you don't really notice the music, then it's working.
Right.
But if composers always have to make concessions for what's going on. That's the name of the game. You're an artist, but you have to work into this outline, into this framework, and to be able to develop a theme is a blessing sometimes, considering how movies work. But when you get scenes like John Powell got to do for this movie, and like what Michael Giacchino did in Up, the flying scenes, and how that seems to relate to such wonderful music, it really affects you in the theater. It takes you away. And I think this is one of my more recent favorite film scores.
And it's John Powell?
Yeah, I mean, I liked The Last Station. I liked Up, but I really liked this.
Good.
And he.
Well, when I go see it in 3D, I'll listen closer too.
It's a good piece of music, and it's a good movie.
Yeah,
it is. I have my draw. My things that are. That I have my nitpicking things, but it
was fun.
It was fun. It was fun. I'd pay for it. Would I pay for the 3D? I don't know. I guess so.
Sneak in. Here's the thing. To avoid that, if you have gone to see a 3D movie, don't recycle the glasses. Keep them. And the next time you want to see a 3D movie, pay for something else and go into your 3D movie.
Hey, I'm not
with your own glasses.
I've done it. I have a drawer with like 6 pairs of 3D glasses at home.
Take that, Katzenberg. You're not going to get an extra $5 out of me every movie.
Yeah, well, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Unless they film it in 3D. I mean, I don't know what the process is as far as filming this, but like, say, for Alice in Wonderland, they spent a whole month and all this extra expense in transferring it to 3D, which I guess Disney believes they're going to get back, and they probably did by charging an extra $4
a ticket. It'll work. Wasn't Clash of the Titans originally 2D, and then they went back and added 3D or made it 3D?
I don't know, but I wouldn't doubt. I probably. Other than Avatar, I can't think of a current film that was specifically shot in 3D. Other than, I think there were some scenes in The Dark Knight that were specifically shot in IMAX 3D.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Well, you should still see
I should know, but...
it's okay. You've known a lot today. You knew that word for the dragon's tail apparatus.
I don't know. Dragons and ailerons, whatever. Something that makes dragons and planes fly.
You also coined the
phrase... Tail fin.
You also coined the phrase geeky goodness, which will be on T-shirts any day now. You should copyright it. All right, we done?
We are done.
All right, sign us out here.
So, as always, let us know what you think. Let us know, if you disagree with us or if you agree with us. Send us an email at postmoviepodcast@gmail.com, and be sure to check us out online at postmovie.wordpress.net, soon to be post-movie.net. And we want to thank Paul Leisen, our producer, the man who puts the show together, and without him there would be no Post-Movie Podcast, because he does the recording and the editing and all the cool stuff.
He actually does my voice in a few segments.
And John, he does,
which is pretty interesting. I can't even tell the difference. He could call me up and I think I'd entered a hot tub time machine and was talking to myself. And I do want to mention that next week the three of us will be taking it on the road again.
All right.
We're going to see Clash of the Titans in 3D Monday night, and then we're going over to the
Trident Booksellers Cafe.
Trident Booksellers Bookseller Cafe on Newbury Street and doing a live well, it'll be live to us.
Fortunately, they liked having us.
We're doing a, yeah. Oh, but what's the one thing we're not going to do this time? Is order that sandwich again.
Oh, you're not getting the French bread.
I am still carrying that
giant.
around from, a month ago? So, no, we'll be eating lighter this time. And I'm sure it'll make for a livelier show.
Sweet.
So we're going to do a broadcast. Yeah, broadcast. Oh, does that sound funny?
A recording.
A recording
broadcast.
from
Right.
the Trident Booksellers on Monday night, and I'm looking forward to it.
And if you happen to be anywhere near the Trident Cafe on Monday night, we're probably going to be in there around
Let's say 10.
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock recording. Would love to meet you if you want to come by and distract us and make some funny faces. Until next week, I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
Adios. Arrivederci. Ciao.